Hi everyone, welcome to Chapter 18. I am having some video issues today, so you're seeing this without video of me, so you don't have to look at me today. But I do have a few things I'd like to share with you as you start your study of Chapter 18. During the Gilded Age, the number of cities in America grew rapidly, and so did the population of individual cities. Who were the new urban Americans? What was city life like? Those are things we'll talk about in this chapter. Many Americans moved from farms and villages to the city. Mostly these were young people who were simultaneously pushed by the bleak economic prospects for farming and the general lack of excitement in rural areas. They were pulled by the greater freedom found in cities and the opportunities to work in industry and commerce. Another major source of population growth, both in the countryside and in the cities, was immigration. During the Gilded Ages, the demographic makeup of immigrants shifted substantially. No longer were most of them from northern European regions such as England, Scandinavia, and Germany. Most new immigrants were from southern and eastern Europe and also from Russia. They were drawn to the United States primarily for the hope of economic betterment, often with the active encouragement of American businesses looking for cheap labor. Many were also pushed by the combinations of political repression and economic stagnation in their home countries. Stayed in the United States, but some eventually returned home either because they had done well for themselves or because they had failed economically in America. So it'll be important for you to keep this push and pull concept in mind when it comes to the test for this chapter. Many ethnic groups self-segregated by region and type of labor. Scandinavians, for example, tended to move to the Midwest to farm, while the Portuguese moved to port cities to enter fishing and maritime trades. Not all native-born Americans welcomed these new arrivals. Nativists saw the new arrivals as alien in custom and language, and they used racist theories to argue that non-Northern Europeans were inferior to the Protestant Germanic peoples, and they variously sought to have immigration halted or slowed, and to implement literacy tests for all incoming immigrants. They failed in the latter, but they did succeed in excluding the Chinese from immigrating, and some general immigration controls were eventually put into place by Congress. Cities in the 1870s were filthy and squalid, with dirt streets and open sewers and thick, heavy air pollution. They became centers for crime and vice, and they significantly altered the patterns of family life. The rise of the city's political machines helped the lower classes. In return for votes and supports, the machine boss would help the poor with sanitation projects or public transportation and free health care. The machine's dark side was massive with corruption. Eventually, reformers overthrew the machine bosses, but often popular pressure for liberal policies of the machines would put the boss back into power. Toward the end of the Gilded Age, cities began to improve their physical infrastructure with sewers, water, electricity, parks, better transportation, and better housing codes. There were also major efforts to provide a basic education for children that included patriotic values so immigrant children could pick up on this Americanism.